Hello, everyone. Hello.
everyone.
Hi, good evening, and welcome to Wheaton. I'm Michelle Whalen, the president of Wheaton College, and we are delighted to welcome our neighbors, friends, colleagues, founders societies, and trustees to this annual tradition of symphony. We call it Symphony Under the Stars, but you see we started earlier. Not yet, not stars yet. So what I want to say is we have an amazing program here. We have Professor Delvyn Case, who is a scholar, a composer, and a conductor of the Great Woods Symphony, which consists of members of our faculty, alums, students, neighbors, community members, and I think is just an amazing tradition. We've been doing this since 2018, and we would like to continue to do this every year, assuming the weather gods continue to smile on us. So what you need to know is that the porta potties are that way, and that we are also helping Cupboard of Kindness. So there are gray bins right over here by the gentleman in the maroon hat and the other gentleman in the maroon t-shirt, neither of which is affiliated with Cupboard of Kindness, but nonetheless serve as a visual marker. So if you would like to donate anything, please go in that direction or ask any staff member and they can help you. And now I'm going to turn it over to Professor Delvyn Case, our orchestra conductor. Thank you, Del.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming to the concert. Honestly, I gotta tell you, you're sitting like it's a heavy metal show. We're not gonna be that loud, and it's gonna sound better if you're closer. So we could do like a red light, green light thing where I turn around, and then some people move, and I won't even know who it is. But don't be shy, because it'll sound better if you come closer. So I'll just turn around for a minute. No one's gonna move, are they? Anyway, if you'd like to move, you may move. It's fine. It's not fixed seating. So thank you so much. We are going to open up with a song you know well, America the Beautiful. This is not necessarily a patriotic concert, but thanks to Keith Lockhart and the Boston Pops, any kind of summer orchestra concert sort of has this patriotic feel to it in some way. So we're going to open up with the most beautiful of the American patriotic songs, in my opinion, America the Beautiful. Thank you. So behind behind me, not behind, surprise. Behind me is the Great Woods Symphony. Now, during the school year, we rehearse on Monday nights. We give a concert at the end of each semester, and we're made up of students and faculty and alumni and staff and a lot of members of the public. Which reminds me, if you would like to play with the Great Woods Symphony and you had experience playing a string, woodwind, brass, percussion instrument, you are allowed to join. So just Google us, Great Woods Symphony. You'll find our website. You can reach out, and you too could be on campus on Monday night in September playing beautiful music, and possibly even next summer with us as well. So the normal Great Woods Symphony is a lot larger. It's got a bunch of woodwinds, brass, percussion, but tonight we are mostly strings, so we can fit on this stage. We just performed what I think is the most beautiful of the well-known American patriotic songs, America the Beautiful. Now we're going to play another piece of music that's not patriotic. It is a classic of orchestra music, though. In fact, it is one of the most classic of all orchestra pieces. And so we're going to play a little game here. You guys ready? Did you ever watch that old show, Name That Tune?
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to play the first note of this composition. And if you know it, if you recognize it, put your hand up. Can you do that? Who here thinks they can name this song in one note? We'll see. Okay, here we go. Ready? If you have the program, no cheating. That's tough, isn't it? Okay, I got a couple of hands. All right, we're gonna do 2 notes is hard, but we're gonna do 3. Ready? Anybody recognize that? Okay, we're going to do 2 measures. You all know that one, right? Okay, yes. So you may not know the name, Eine kleine Nachtmusik by Mozart. It's a little night music, which is perfect for this concert. One of the most famous pieces. And if you think you know it, maybe you don't know it yet, but you'll recognize it probably from now on, now that you've heard it live. So Mozart's Eine kleine Nachtmusik. Wonderful piece. It's never a bad day when Mozart is in your life, I think. So I think Mozart is really one of the greatest of all the composers, and every time we do a piece, no matter how well known or not well known it is, it just warms my heart. So we are going to do another very well-known piece of classical music. This actually isn't from Vienna, like Mozart, but it's actually from Spain, actually by way of France. It is from the famous opera Carmen by Georges Bizet, and it is a habanera, which is a kind of a dance rhythm that actually came from Cuba through Spain, etc. And you'll definitely recognize this song as well. And for this song, which is going to be sung for us actually in English tonight, we're going to welcome our wonderful soloist Jean Danton, who has sung with the Boston Pops and opera companies all over the country, and is an actress who has performed in not just in musical theater, as well as television and film, etc. So we are very, very happy to have Jean here. She's been a favorite of this performance in the past. So we're really happy to bring Jean back to perform this wonderful song for us.
Love is just like a bird that's wild, that no one here can ever tame. Yet in vain they are all so tempted, yet he refuses to say my name. Nothing's gained, neither pain nor pleasure. He speaks of love, the other sighs. It's the other that I prefer here. He may just sigh, but that's all right. Love is like a gypsy boy who always, always, always will be free. If you don't love me, I love you. If I love you, beware of me. If you don't love me, if you don't love me, still I love you. But if I love you, if I love you, beware of me. If you don't love me, if you don't love me, still I love you. But if I love you, if I love you, beware of me. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. We'll bring Jean back several more times, which I'm sure he'll be happy about. So we're going to stay on the theme of love. We're going to perform a really wonderful song by the most important and the first sort of important Brazilian female composer. I can't really pronounce her name. I can try. Chiquinha Gonzaga, but I don't speak Portuguese. And so she wrote this operetta, sort of like an opera in the end of the 19th century, early 20th century actually. And this is this wonderful song that's called, the translation I understand is from the hinterlands. It's basically, the song is all about about the natural beauty of this certain part of Brazil. And at the very end, she talks romantically about this cowboy and how he's a part of the landscape, and it's very romantic. It's sort of like a waltz. Now, we're not going to do a performance with live singing. We're actually going to do an arrangement just for strings, which I really think really brings out the pathos and the beauty and the romance of this wonderful, wonderful song. And it's called A Sertaneja. wonderful slow waltz. I love that piece. And I don't think that Ms. Gonzaga ever thought, when she wrote this piece 115 years ago, it would be performed in Norton, Massachusetts. But you're welcome, Ms. Gonzaga, because you just had your Norton premiere. This is actually a brand new arrangement. I don't know if it's been done in Massachusetts. You could possibly say you were there when you heard it, but it should be performed a lot more. It's a wonderful piece. Now, we are going to sort of stay in the theme of dance, but we're going to move across, sort of up, if you will, and we're going to go to Mexico. And we are going to perform a piece called Dawn in Tapatio, the place in Mexico. And it's a wonderful piece by a composer who actually lives in Massachusetts. And we're going to hear one movement of it. And it's based on a folk song from Mexico, and it's for flute and strings. And performing the flute solo for us is going to be none other than our reasonably new flute faculty member, Professor Tommy Conrad, who is also a Wheaton alumnus who graduated not too long ago and who won all these awards and did a wonderful, amazing stuff while he was a music student here. And now he went off and got his master's degree in flute, and now he's back to teach for us and to perform this amazing piece, this really, really fun Latin American or Mexican dance with us this evening. So welcome, Professor Tommy Conrad. So I want to keep Tommy up here just for a brief interview because we're just so proud of this guy. So Tommy, when did you start playing the flute?
When I was 9,
So where did you start to play the flute?
in public schools.
That's the right answer. So support your public school music program. And where are you from?
Natick, Mass.
Natick, Massachusetts. Homegrown talent. Okay. And tell us, what did you do when you were at Wheaton?
A lot of music, so much music, and French.
And French. And you're not just, you might notice that Tommy is both playing the flute and playing the viola back in the orchestra, but not at the same time. But I would not be surprised if Tommy knew how to do that, because he also plays several other instruments, believe it or not. Not tonight. So, Tommy, really happy to have you play with us. Hopefully we'll have you back to play in the future. Thank you very much. So we're going to stay, more dances actually. We're going to stay in Latin America. We're going to actually go south, actually. We're going to go to South America. We're going to go to Argentina by way of New York City. And we are going to have a wonderful piece by Astor Piazzolla, who was an Argentinian composer who moved to New York City in the early part of the 20th century or so, and sort of absorbed the jazz he heard and the blues and the popular music and classical music, and went back to Argentina and sort of took the tango, which was certainly a very, very important musical style and dance style, and sort of transformed it in certain ways, almost making like a classical music version of tango, though not really. It's much more. What he did was much more interesting than just sort of taking a tango and giving it to an orchestra. He really made the tango this sort of deeper and richer kind of music in a certain way. So he opened up the tango to the minds and ears of a lot of classical musicians. And we're going to play one of his more famous tango pieces called Libertango. You're going to hear the jazz in it as well, and even a little bit of rock, I think, believe it or not. And joining us along with the orchestra is going to be another one of our Wheaton alumni. This is Jackson Reed, who was a music major and one of our, again, pride joys. He is also playing viola in the orchestra and is jumping in on percussion in this piece and in several others. So now we are going to perform Libertango by Astor Piazzolla. Isn't that great? What a great tune. So we had Jackson tearing up the drum set. We also had a solo by one of our wonderful teaching artists who works with our students every Monday night in orchestra, Miguel Vasquez. Bravo. Yes, so Miguel and Ethan Wood, our concert master, and John Bayadowes, our faculty viola player, we work with the students and the whole orchestra every Monday night, leading them in sectionals and playing with them in rehearsal. They are, I say, if I'm the bus driver, they're the wheels. So I guess that's three. So that's anyway. So if we're a tricycle, they're the wheels. Anyway, the point is this: without them, we're going nowhere. And so we're really excited to have a chance to feature them in this concert, not just during the school year. And later on, you're going to hear a solo by Ethan as well. So the next, what's the next song? Yes. So we are going to stick along with sort of jazz, and we're going to go up to North America. We're going to perform a piece by the well-known composer George Gershwin. Of course, Gershwin wrote the famous Rhapsody in Blue, which if you've ever heard those United Airlines commercials from the 80s and 90s, you recognize the tune. But of course, he also wrote great Broadway songs and Broadway shows. And of course, the opera Porgy and Bess, very, very famous American opera. And Gershwin drew on a lot of different American folk music, including African American music and jazz, to sort of forge a new kind of sort of hybrid between classical music and popular music. And one of his most famous songs is perfect for tonight. It's Summertime. And we are going to invite Jean back to perform this wonderful arrangement for soprano, strings, and percussion. So Jean. bring Gene back for a couple more pieces, believe it or not. And that featured Professor Ethan Wood, our faculty concertmaster on violin. And he's also going to play another solo not very long from now. So I mentioned that George Gershwin drew upon syncopated music like ragtime and jazz in a lot of his music, whether it was for orchestra or the Broadway stage. But the origin of most American popular music, from hip hop to soul and funk, etc., is in that old-timey music called ragtime, which I just mentioned. Ragtime is a syncopated kind of dance music that preceded jazz, and the most famous composer in that style in American history is the African-American composer Scott Joplin, who wrote the Maple Leaf Rag and many, many other famous ragtime pieces. His most famous probably is The Entertainer. You're definitely going to recognize this one. And we are going to perform this in an arrangement, again, for strings and percussion. So you hear those wonderful syncopations, and did you notice that sort of 1, 2 beat that's going all the way? Dum, 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 Don't. That's because the reason why the ragtime music has that 1-2 beat is because it actually is inspired by the march, by all the great American marching band music that had been written for the military bands during the Civil War. And after the Civil War, newly freed enslaved people were actually knew a lot of that music from the military bands, and they brought their syncopated rhythms that they inherited from their grandparents and their great grandparents who had come from Africa, and they combined those rhythms with the kind of beat of the march, and you got this syncopated do-ka-do-da-do-da-do. It's like a syncopated march. 20 years later, that turns into jazz in New Orleans. So it's amazing how the history of American music is all tied up between all different kinds of people and all different kinds of music. And without jazz, ragtime or jazz, you wouldn't have funk, soul, hip hop, the blues, anything like that. So we are excited to be able to play that with a string orchestra for you tonight. Now, speaking of strings, we're going to change the pace up a lot right now. We're going to stay in America, and we're going to go towards Appalachia. And we're going to play a beautiful piece of music called Ashokan Farewell, which was newly composed in an old kind of folk style. It's like a fiddle song. And it was written for the Ken Burns PBS documentary series, The Civil War, by Jay Ungar. And so it's a lovely sort of melancholic, lamenting sort of fiddle song that's going to feature Professor Ethan Wood at the beginning, and then the orchestra comes in as well. And it features, in addition to the orchestra and Professor Wood, are also one of the alumni we are most proud of in the music department, Bree Sheldon, who's playing keyboard for us as well. So this is this lovely sort of sentimental fiddle song called Ashokan Farewell. Thank you, Ethan. Beautiful playing. So we don't just have student performers here at Wheaton. We also have student composers. And we have a current student right now named Kyle Ducharme, who is actually from Taunton. And Kyle is a fabulous trumpet player and also composer, and he wrote a piece that the full Great Woods Symphony Orchestra premiered in Weber Theater last spring, which is really a tremendous achievement. Kyle has developed his ability to compose at a pretty high level. So I was approached by an organization a couple of years ago called Sing Me a Story. They're an international organization, and they do kind of remarkable work. They try to use new music to support and celebrate young people, especially those people in need and their families in need. They approached me and they said they had a very special project they were looking for a composer for. And the project they had developed was to actually commission a piece of music to celebrate the life of a young person from this area who had died too young, right after his graduation from Dartmouth High School. And I knew Kyle was the right student, both as a composer but also as a human, to be able to take the words of celebration and memory that were written by his classmates and his teachers, and to create a musical tapestry that would he would weave around the words of celebration. Now, that piece was performed and premiered at Zeiterion Theater in New Bedford by the Dartmouth High School Orchestra, and we are now going to perform it for you here with the Great Woods Symphony. It features words that were written by Nick's colleagues and friends and teachers that celebrate his life. I'm not going to lie, there's a deep amount of sadness in this piece, but the fact is that the words are words of celebration, and so we think about the people in our lives that we love, and I think the words that his classmates and teachers wrote for him are words that we can bring into our own hearts and apply to the people that we love in our lives. So as you listen to the song, please think carefully about and deeply about the people in your life that you hold dear, and think about how these words might in some ways reflect the way you feel about them. So the narration is going to be performed by lovely Jean Dan. So Jean.
This is the story of a young man named Nicholas, though everyone who loved him simply called him Big Nick. A gentle giant with a smile that could brighten even the grayest hallway. He was quiet at times, careful with his words, but his actions spoke loudly. He had kindness and loyalty and a heart that always seemed a size too big. Nick was the oldest brother at home, the protector, the helper, the one who made sure everyone else was okay. He didn't always love school, but he showed up and he worked hard enough to earn his diploma and the respect of everyone who walked beside him. And when he wasn't working or studying, he loved his games, Madden battles, Rocket League duels, and a PS4 he poured his paycheck into. He loved rap music, loved laughing with friends, loved those moments where everything felt simple and good. on the football field, he wore number 77, a big man with an even bigger heart. Before every game, he gave his little brother a high five, a quiet tradition that meant more than words. His teammates called him their teddy bear, the one who could make you laugh on your worst day, the one who never had problems with anybody. With his family, the memories shine bright. A New Year's trip to Times Square, where he laughed the whole weekend and surprised everyone by raising his voice only once when someone pushed his baby brother. A prom suit, royal blue, simple, bold, and perfect. And a graduation party where more than 200 people came, though he didn't know he had so many friends, proving just how deeply he was loved. His friends remember the little things: early morning Dunkin' runs, inside jokes in Spanish class, long talks, long drives, and a bond built through shared loss and shared strength. They say it was pure joy, someone who lifted others up, and when you tried to pull them down, his teachers and coaches remember him too. The big smile waiting in the doorway, the quiet politeness, the way he supported students with special needs, as if he'd been doing it his whole life. They say he made the school feel different, brighter, calmer, kinder, simply by being in it. And so this piece of music carries his spirit forward, the laughter, the loyalty, the calm strength, the joy he brought into every room and every note. We hear the young man whose kindness shaped so many lives. In every phrase, we feel the love he left behind. And in every breath of this melody, we honor the gentle giant we will always remember, Big Nick. Kyle.
It takes a very special student to write a piece of music on that topic, and I think it demonstrates the heart that our Wheaton students have to the community and to each other to take on that project at a pretty young age. And Kyle did an extraordinary job, and to create a piece of music that really is connected to the fabric of the community, connected to Wheaton, and I think connects Nick's legacy to all of us and those whom we love. So we are going to perform another piece of music by a Wheaton composer. It's actually me, and Gene is also going to be involved in this one. This is also a piece of music for narration and strings. This is a part of a piece that I wrote about 15 years ago for the Portland Symphony Orchestra, and it was a project where they wanted a program kind of like Peter and the Wolf, where there was a musical storybook that they could take around to schools. So I wrote this piece for a narrator and a string quartet, and they took it all around the state of Maine for several years, performing it at schools and community centers and libraries and museums. It's been done a bunch in Massachusetts as well. It's actually been done in Australia a couple of times randomly. And this is a really, it's based on a true story. So it's a musical storybook, and the story is actually a true story about an American folk hero named Abby Burgess, who was a teenager who in the 19th century lived on a tiny island off the coast of Maine, where her father was the lighthouse keeper. And during the greatest storm, the greatest nor'easter of the 19th century, her father was stuck on the mainland. And Abby Burgess, as a teenager, famously kept the lights burning in the lighthouse tower and saved her younger siblings and her mother. And became this American folk hero. And there's a famous children's book called Keep the Lights Burning, Abby, you might have heard of before. And I was commissioned by the Portland Symphony to bring her story to life with new music. So you're going to hear the very beginning of this composition, the very beginning of the story, and actually it's going to involve the string orchestra, and also I want to invite back to the stage not Gene Denton anymore, but Abby Burgess Grant herself, who is going to tell the story at the beginning of the story, I should say. Abby.
Hi everyone, I'm Abby. This is a story about how I became a lighthouse keeper. It's a story about how I learned that I had the courage to do something I never thought I could do. It's a story about remembering that, though you might be scared, sometimes you can find the strength inside to be a hero. I'll never forget the day my family left on our new adventure. Mama, Papa, my sister, and I packed our things onto Papa's lobster boat. Once we cleared the harbor, we shot off through the sparkling summer air. I felt the ocean spray pepper my face. Soon, we were racing through the billowing swells toward our new life. Once we reached the island, it was time to unload. Everyone had to help carry the canvas bags and heavy wooden crates that stored our precious possessions. I grabbed the bag with my books and dolls and headed up the rocky shore toward the house. Turning around, I saw 2 towers of the lighthouse reaching into the sky. They were so majestic. They were taller than anything I had ever seen before. They could be seen for miles and miles. In the middle of the night, sailors would be guided by the lights from their bright lamps. I remembered how important our job was, and I promised myself that I would never, ever let the lamps go out. No matter what. Soon, we were settled in our little house. It was nestled between the 2 lighthouse towers, standing guard over us like 2 soldiers. The house was made mostly of stone so that it could survive the harshest of storms. Inside, it was small and cozy, with a stone fireplace to keep us warm on those cold, cold winter nights. Soon, our little family settled into a routine. Mama, my sister, and I had to take care of the house. We cooked and cleaned and looked after the hens in the chicken coop. In the afternoon, we did our schoolwork, always by the fireplace. and always with Mama's help. Of course, Papa spent most of his time tending to the lighthouse, and sometimes he let me help. There was always so much to do. We had to haul the heavy jars of whale oil all the way up the spiral staircase to each tower. At the top, we had to push on the heavy trap door. That led into the lamp room. Then we had to fill up the lamps and trim every wick. We also had to polish 2 huge mirrors that magnified the light. Sometimes Papa had to do something that was too scary for me. In the winter, he had to climb out onto the catwalk at the very top of each tower, far above. Using a chisel, he had to break through the thick ice that was covering the windows. If he didn't, the lights would be too dim for the sailors to see. It was terribly dangerous. Papa. Abby, someday you may have to take care of the lighthouse. And if there is a winter storm, you will have to climb out there and do this yourself. Oh no, Papa! I will never have the courage to do that. What if the wind knocks me off my feet and onto the rocks down there? But Papa smiled and said, "Someday, Abby, you will have the courage. Someday, Abby, you will be ready."
So you probably want to know what happens next, don't you? Okay, so believe it or not, I happen to have just recorded this piece of music. So if you'd like to hear the rest of the story, you can find it on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music. In case you're wondering, this is I'm going to make any money off that is not true. If everyone here listens to it 100 times, maybe I'll get a cup of coffee this time next year, okay? So I wrote this piece for the children, as they say, and it was lovely to have a chance to record it this year, actually using a grant from Wheaton, and now it's offered to whoever across the world would like to hear the rest of this story, and that includes you. So I do hope you will go and check it out. It's called Lighthouse Keeper. Look up Lighthouse Keeper Delvyn Case, and you can listen to the whole thing. Please share it with your family, with your kids, nieces, nephews, pets, etc. Anybody who likes a great story. It's a real story about a real person who was a folk hero in New England 150 years ago. It's a tremendous story of courage and bravery. So please do listen to it and share it with the people that you know and love. And again, thanks to Wheaton for the grant that helped me record the piece this year, and now we can share it with everybody. So thank you for indulging me in having this little taste. Now go listen to the rest of the story, and please reach out if you like it. We are going to finish up. Actually, I need to make sure I know what the next song is. Sorry. Yes, so 2 more performances. We're going to finish up with 2 of the classics. If you come to these concerts, we do them just about every year because they are so fun to play and they are so fun to listen to. They're both American classics. One is the Hoedown from Aaron Copland's ballet Rodeo. You might recognize it from the beef commercials in the 90s. You definitely will recognize it from the beef It's What's for Dinner commercials. It's a really fun piece for strings and percussion and piano. It's got a little hoedown in the middle of it. That's why it's called Hoedown. And then when we're done with that, we're going to move forward about 50 years or so and hear a medley of music by probably, I think, America's greatest composer, John Williams. A medley of some of his famous film music. We have Star Wars, Jurassic Park, and Indiana Jones. So these are the last 2 pieces on the program. So I hope you enjoy them. Thank you. Thank you so much.